Coming up on Tech News Today, Microsoft's got a new IE hole. 4G is now totally meaningless. And Google, go to your room and think about what you did. And then watch TNT. Which is next.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for Tech News Today is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com.
What, this? This is Tech News Today for Wednesday, November 3rd, 2010. Tech News Today is brought to you by Ford and voice-activated sync, featuring true hands-free calling, turn-by-turn directions, 911 assist, and more. Available exclusively on Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury vehicles. For more details, visit syncmyridepodcast.com and by audible.com. Download a free audiobook of your choice by going to audiblepodcast.com/TNT. Welcome to Tech News Today. I'm Tom Merritt.
And I'm Jason Howell.
And joining us in the absence of Becky Worley is Mr. Scott Johnson. Hey, Scott.
She has hard shoes to fill, folks, but I'm very happy to be here. Thanks for having me on, Tom and Jason.
Very hard shoes. They're wooden, actually.
Yeah, when she walks around, all you hear are
click, clack, click,
yeah,
clack.
Pretty much.
But, as we get closer to the holidays, of course, Becky's responsibilities at ABC,
if that is its real name,
if that's its real name, get greater and greater. So she'll be back tomorrow. And we'll still have her on every week, but she gets called away for this and that. So, Scott, thank you so much for jumping in.
Thrilled to be here, and I'm excited to see what Becky's doing on ABC. I love all that pre-holiday crap they cover. It's going to be awesome.
All right, Microsoft's got a new hole. The new IE hole has been announced. Warned of this is in older versions of Internet Explorer. Limited targeted attacks in which emails were sent to people in targeted organizations. So it was a bit of a spear phishing element to it. So you would direct people to a website, and when you launch that website, if you had Internet Explorer 6 or 7, exploit code would download automatically. You wouldn't have to do anything. So the only thing the user had to do was click on this fake link. The exploit code has been taken down from the website where it was hosted. The server it was communicating with has also been fixed. And they actually got some pretty cool security visualizations of whoever's running this code typing in commands and sending them to the Trojans. Symantec published a blog post today describing how hackers sent emails to the select group of individuals. There is not a patch coming out right away. They say it'll probably come in the next patch cycle, which isn't due till December 14th.
What's interesting about this, to me, is that this comes on the heels of news that IE 9 is the rated highest in terms of compatibility with HTML5 standards.
Well,
which is
with some HTML5 standards. It's not a complete test. But yeah, we talked about that.
And it's good news, right? It's good news for them because typically they're on the bottom end of that scale. Nobody gets too excited about a new IE release when it comes to standards adherence and stuff like that. To hear then this weird story about an ancient version of their browser that I'm a little surprised anybody's still using, and obviously people are. But what do we think that is in raw numbers? Do we have any idea how many people might still be using IE6 on their computers at home?
I have an idea of what that number is. One too many. Any number is too many. Usually, there are two reasons given for people still being on IE6. Now, this does affect IE7 as well, but IE6 is the worst offender. One of the reasons is ignorance. I didn't even know I had IE6. I had no idea, and I had my updates turned off or something like that. The other is corporations where they have designed internal systems to work specifically for IE6, and they don't want to have to tweak them to work in IE7, because when you change browsers, sometimes things get wonky, especially if you've really taken advantage of these non-standard features that existed in past versions of Internet Explorer. So Ars Technica had a great article up today about an add-on for IE8 called Unibrowse, which allows you to put IE6 in a tab. And so that you can actually run the IE6 stuff just as if it were IE6. It's not an emulator, but it allows you to get all of the IE6 goodness in a tab. So if you have that one thing in your company that needs IE6, you can install this in all of the IE8s on your enterprise and run the IE6
it's like
stuff within the tab.
IE6 Classic mode.
Well, I had a plugin for Firefox for a while that let me run IE5 and newer stuff inside of a Firefox tab.
Yeah, the IE tab I had on. I remember that.
Yeah, which was really helpful when you're trying to debug stuff and do stuff with sites. It sounds like this is something similar, maybe even a little bit more powerful or a little better at doing this. And as you were explaining all this, it occurred to me who has IE6. I know someone very well who does. It's my freaking mom. She has that stupid browser, and it's probably on me to get over there and get her upgraded. So I'm going to recommend everyone do that for themselves and do it for your moms.
And do it for Scott's mom.
Right.
Metaphorically speaking. Don't all go over to her house. That would kind of freak her out, probably.
Oh, my gosh.
All right. Facebook is updating its iPhone and Android apps. They had a big announcement. Why we're a little late on the live stream today for TNT, and probably a little late publishing as well. They announced they got everybody all stoked up because they said Facebook Mobile. And no, the first thing Mark Zuckerberg said is we're not doing a phone. But we are upgrading our iPhone and Android apps. So the iPhone app has a little bit of a tweak to places. You can now add pictures when you check in on your places, and the Android app got a lot of updates.
Yeah, well, I think Zuckerberg was saying that he's trying to bring the Android and the iPhone apps on parity with each other. So they added more actual places integration into the app. They changed some of the notifications where the notification, if you clicked on it, it would take you into a browser to actually look at it. So most of that's cleaned up. It's all in app, as well as places. Did I already mention that?
Yeah, you got places in Android now, too?
Oh,
yeah.
yes, and groups. There we go.
I don't remember groups being in the iPhone app.
Groups was not
today.
in the iPhone app. You're right,
Yeah.
Scott.
Yeah, and I've got to say, there's one piece that they haven't really talked about. Maybe they have more in the article and I missed it, but big performance boost for me for this app on my iPhone. I don't know if that's iPhone 4s only, or if others are having any other issues, or if it's the same speed on a 3GS, but definitely an uptick in speed for me, as best I can tell. I know that there's sometimes you get a new version of a device and you go, oh, everything's faster, but really it isn't so much.
Yeah.
You just kind of think it is because it's new and shiny. Yeah, but from what I can tell, that was one of my complaints. It seemed a little sluggish before, and that seems to be gone, so I'm pretty happy with it.
They're also adding in a deals platform. Company says it will introduce single sign-on. The deals actually is different than the single sign-on. The deals thing is you check in at a place, you might get like a free coffee or 50% off of your meal or something like that. The single sign-on means when you sign on your mobile device to Facebook, you can then use that as Facebook Connect on other apps. So they used Looped and Groupon as examples of this, where you launch that app, now you don't have to log in again. It just logs you in with Facebook. Once you're logged in, you're logged in.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. To me, it's a broader sign that Facebook gets the movement of mobile technology as it applies to social media, and they seem like they are on board and want to be ahead of the curve. So they're going to do things that sort of put their supposed competition behind them. And to me, this seems like the smart move. And I don't see this slowing down. I see people adopting this more and more, and more people are buying smartphones, of course. And Facebook is trying to take advantage of this very mobile audience that seems to be springing up everywhere. So it seems like smart moves for them.
Definitely. David Fetterman, lead engineer of Facebook's development platform, unveiled the service, the new API, saying developers can now read data showing where users are located, as well as write such data and search Facebook's database of locations. Of course, that led to a lot of questions of how are you going to protect the privacy of people if you've got all this location information? And Mark Zuckerberg said, same way we protect it now, which is you don't give that information to anyone unless the user themselves has authorized it. That's kind of the, you can make all the jokes you want about what Facebook has done in the past, but that is their current mantra, which is unless you've explicitly made it public or said, yes, share it with that app, it doesn't go anywhere. So this API won't get it either unless you say, yes, you can share it. The API just makes it possible to share it. Yeah,
does it make me just a little weird that all this stuff you're saying, I picture Jesse Eisenberg saying it and not Jeff Zuckerberg? Is that weird? Because I saw that movie and all I can see is Eisenberg talking now.
Did you watch the video today?
No, I missed it.
Facebook streamed it live. We had it here on TWiT too. And one thing that Leo mentioned during the live coverage was he's doing a lot more public speaking, I think, as a way to show how different he is than the depiction of him in that movie. Because the way Jesse Eisenberg, he's always squinting and kind of, a little awkward. And And Zuckerberg doesn't talk like that. And he's obviously taken some public speaking classes too, because he was very perky and sociable and seemed like a nice guy.
I heard he was less sweaty, so that's a step in the right direction.
He did have one weird moment where they asked him, "Hey, what about an iPad app? You've talked about Android and iPhone," and he said, "iPad isn't mobile."
Oh,
and everybody went, "What are you talking about, dude?" He's like, and then he kind of backed off. He's like, "Well, I mean, for our purposes today, I just mean to say we're not going to talk about anything except phones today. We don't consider iPad's more like a computer. That's a different platform." So he had to back out of it, and I know what he meant. What he meant was the iPad is a different platform. We have to take different things into account when we develop for that, and we're not talking about any of those kind of products today. But he was a little quick with the iPad's not mobile.
Well, I think you're right.
Funny.
I think that is what he meant. It was pretty obvious what he meant, but it's still I think he kind of forgot that when you start throwing that kind of stuff around, especially in front of Apple people that may be listening, they're all going to jump to that conclusion. He's not respecting my iPad. People don't understand this is the wave of the future. And it's like, no, just calm down. He just means that this isn't a phone, and it isn't. And we're okay with that.
While we're talking about Facebook, we should mention they sent a letter last week to Representative Ed Markey, a Massachusetts Democrat, and Representative Joe Barton, a Texas Republican. Both those guys survived the election yesterday, defending their privacy practices. Wall Street Journal article was talking about it. CNET's Declan McCullough has an article about it today. And essentially, they said, look, there was nothing divulged in this UID leak that we talked about a while ago that wasn't made public by the user themselves. The only things that would have been leaked to these other corporations that were gathering the UIDs would be information that the user themselves had made public to everyone. So they're trying to say, we just don't think you understand how the web works. These UIDs were in the referrers of the way browsers work, and frankly, they didn't get a whole lot of information out of them. Do you buy that, Scott?
I kind of do. I don't know. I mean, there's one thing that's obvious to me through all of this talk, and not just what we're hearing today about their stuff in front of Congress, but all of the issues that have come up in the last couple of years about Facebook changing stuff so the policies get changed, privacy becomes less and less of a safeguard, and you're more and more having to defend why you want to be private on Facebook. And I think what it comes down to is I'm not saying they regret this, but I think that they see ventures like Twitter and other applications that are so public, right? Like so out there and in people's faces that they want to dial back a bit from, well, this is just a place for me and the friends I choose to have on it and my mom and my aunt and everything. And instead, we want to make sure we're as out and in front of this as everybody else is. And a good example of that is if you don't use Facebook and I link to a photo in somebody's Facebook page, you're not going to see it unless that person has, relinquished all privacy regarding that photo. But if I get that through a Twitter feed or something on PhotoBucket or a million other services, you can see it immediately. And I think that bugs them, and that we'll just see them inch closer and closer to a world where ultimately, yes, you can lock a lot of stuff down, but by default, they want much of what you're saying and doing online through Facebook to be public.
Yeah,
I don't think that's slowing down.
No, I think you're right, but I think they're learning how to be more responsible about that, or at least a little more careful, if not responsible. Yep. This episode of Tech News Today is brought to you by Audible.com. Audible is the leading provider of audiobooks with more than 75,000 downloadable titles across all types of literature, including fiction, nonfiction, and periodicals, magazines, and newspapers in there as well. Listeners of Tech News Today can get a free audiobook. I was going to recommend, because we just had all these stories about Facebook, The Accidental Billionaires, The Founding of Facebook by Ben Mesrich. It was the book that was used as the basis for the movie The Social Network. It's narrated by Mike Chamberlain. So that's one book you could get for free. But Scott, you've been listening to an audiobook, haven't you?
Yeah, so I have, and I'm give some credit to a friend of mine, Randy Jordan, my co-host on The Instance, for recommending it back in the day. It is a Neil Gaiman book titled American Gods. Any Neil Gaiman fan is surely familiar with the book. This is my second listen through. I got it through Audible, and it is read by George Guidall, who is my favorite narrator in all of audiobookdom. He does a lot of the Stephen King books and some other stuff, but he is amazing, and that is one of my favorite books of all time. I got it on Audible, and I love it. I keep going back to it, so I'm sure there'll be a third read through, and there'll surely be a fourth. Yeah, good stuff.
So there you go. You got a couple of choices. Audible.com allows you to get audiobooks every month. You get some credits. You sign up for a plan. You put them on your music player, your MP3 player. You listen to books. Books you didn't think you had time to listen to. Now you have time. Time in the car, maybe when you're in the shower, while you go jogging. I do it in all those situations. Go to audiblepodcast.com/TNT. Show them your support. Sign up for a free trial. Try an audiobook for free. audiblepodcast.com/TNT. T-Mobile's gone 4G. No,
oh my gosh,
no,
4G Wayne. Is that like HD? We don't know what it is.
Yeah, well, sort of. T-Mobile has moved their HSPA Plus service, which is very fast, to 75 live markets, and then said, we're running the largest 4G network in the U.S. And they took a little swipe at AT&T at the same time with a little video commercial. Do we have that?
We do. Here we go.
Yeah, let's take a look at the nasty commercial.
And I'm an iPhone 4.
Who's your friend?
Oh, it's the old AT&T network.
That'll slow you down.
That's the price I paid for 3G speed.
Bummer. 4G with T-Mobile lets me video chat practically anywhere.
Well, iPhone 4 can FaceTime video chat from anywhere there's Wi-Fi, like, say, an airport.
You know, you suddenly feel heavier.
The new T-Mobile MyTouch 4G. Video chat without needing Wi-Fi. On America's largest 4G network. T-Mobile.
That guy on that's supposed to be AT&T look like Vizzini from Princess
A little
Bride.
bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. You know what bugs me more about that ad is they're not even giving cred to Apple, who basically established that format, and so they're obviously
well, sure they are.
They're
picking on an iPhone 4.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. That kind of smack talk in commercials makes me laugh. But in the end, it is a fast network. I mean, what they're doing is cool. And hey, I would love Wi-Fi free, video chat. I'd love to do that. That'd be great. So I'm behind their message. I just think it's kind of a goofy commercial.
Well, also HSPA Plus is not 4G. This has become a real problem because now that T-Mobile is really pushing this and saying, "Hey, we're a 4G network," you start to wonder, does it matter? First of all, nothing is 4G. The implementations of LTE and WiMAX that Verizon and Sprint have are also not technically 4G. The ITU has not certified those as 4G. In fact, there was a great article on Boy Genius Report today where one of their writers just was like, I have to get this off my chest. It's a good article, and he defines 4G, says, among other technical stipulations, it must deliver peak download speeds of approximately 100 megabits per second in high mobility environments and peak download speeds of approximately 1 gigabit per second in low mobility environments. So only LTE Advanced and WiMAX MAN satisfy that. Those are not the implementations coming from Verizon and Sprint.
No, and I would also I would just remind the audience and anyone listening post-show when we're done today, I can go to Home Depot and buy high-definition paint. It's called HD paint. So I'm just saying, there's a precedent. Right, there's a lot of precedents out there for people taking tech, catchphrases and words and acronyms and making it their own in really weird ways, and this feels like that.
Well, okay, let's look at the facts of the matter. HSPA Plus from T-Mobile is 21 megabits per second. That's fast. That is as fast as the top AT&T speeds, roughly. They hope to tweak that up to 42 megabits per second in 2011. They think they could actually eventually get it up to 168 megabits per second. We'll see about that. But even if they only got topped out at 42, that's fast. And what 4G means to people is faster.
That's all it means. Same with HD. It means crisper, sharper. It's the same thing. And so people have kind of adopted it. There is no one standard. Well, there should be, and there is in some cases, or some would argue there are, but there's no one standard that says this is absolutely 4G. In my mind, it's your fourth generation network. Is this T-Mobile's fourth generation network? I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
How many times have they been to the rodeo on this? Maybe this is their fifth time at this, and they're just calling it 4G because that's what people are equating with fast right now. I mean, it's obviously just catchwordy and good for advertising, but I think it's confusing on a purely technical level, and we should take it back, damn it.
Here's my position on it as of now. Fine, you're allowed to call it 4G. Nobody can stop you. You have just made 4G absolutely meaningless. And so we now need to, thank you very much, we now can't say 4G and mean LTE and WiMAX. We now have to go, well, they're doing LTE at this megabits per second, not the LTE Advanced, which is this megabits per second. Fine.
Yeah.
We'll take one for the team. AT&T is tracking Twitter updates to aid in its understanding of network failures and glitches. So a little different from what Comcast or others do, where they look for somebody saying something and then reply them, hey, can we help you fix that? They're doing that, but they're also analyzing user complaints and trying to extract the timestamp and location where the complaint happened, so they can figure out where the weak spots in their network is.
It's interesting. I mean, they're pulling interesting aggregate data here. So if they're saying, all right, we have a lot of people in the Eagle Mountain, Utah area where I live, because we had some issues with some towers for a while. And maybe my complaining ended up on somebody's list of people, doing tweets from that location, and they could kind of figure out, all right, well, in this general, 5-mile radius, we have some problems. Oh, it turns out there's a new mountain we didn't know about or whatever blocking the way.
Where'd that mountain come from?
So they took care of it. I don't know, but I love this. I love that they're doing this. It isn't even for show so much as sometimes public replies are and stuff, to sort of let people know, hey, we're a company of the people. This is more like, all right, well, let's get serious here. Where are we seeing the problems? Can we pinpoint a trend in this area or that area? And then if they really are going in with that data and fixing it, then hats off to AT&T for that, because they take a lot of heat for trying to catch up with demand, trying to get a 3G network at speeds that others are competing higher at, and that kind of thing. If this is their answer to that, or they continue to do things like this, then that's great. What else can we ask for?
We can ask for Wi-Fi Direct in our phones.
Oh,
you know
right.
About Wi-Fi Direct?
I know very little about it. I just know it sounds great.
Essentially, it's like Wi-Fi ad hoc, but much, much better. So you can connect from one Wi-Fi device to another without having to go through the whole ad hoc process and without having to use a router in between. And only one of the devices needs to be direct. So Samsung Galaxy S has been certified as the first smartphone to be Wi-Fi Direct certified. I said that twice. We don't know when the Galaxy S smartphone will get the firmware update that makes the Wi-Fi Direct actually happen, but they'll be among the first to be able to do things like, for instance, if you have a Wi-Fi printer, print from your phone.
Or sync from your phone, or add other stuff from a PC or a Mac to your phone. I think that all sounds really great. My question is, and this gives me a little bit of hope, if these guys are saying, we're already hardware-wise set up to do this, we just need firmware, that means a lot of other phones could qualify at some point if they wanted to, and that's good, right? I mean, is it possible that one day that Jason's what phone are you using now? I know you're using a lot of Android phones.
Well, Motorola Droid. Yeah, I still have the original.
So what if your Droid could do it? Droid.
I wouldn't be surprised.
iPhone?
It can do everything. No. Yeah, I mean, if this type of update could be rolled out as a firmware update, then why wouldn't any phone that can do Wi-Fi do this?
Well, you have to get the Wi-Fi Alliance to certify you for Wi-Fi Direct, which says that you're going to play by the rules, use the standard that everybody else is using so that all the devices play well together. And then, yeah, I mean, really, it's just a matter of programming it and updating your firmware.
Bring it on.
And
directly.
Who are these guys? That's the part I really don't know about, is who are these guys that sort of, I picture hooded men in some sort of cabal.
So, it's a shadow government. Draped in secrecy. No, it's just a standards organization. It's usually like, it's a good question, like who actually gets on these things, but it's usually nominated from various industry folks.
Yeah, I like that.
All right, interesting article in New Scientist has me very sad. Of course, you may have heard in the mainstream news, the non-tech news, about the parcels containing powdered explosives that made their way from Dubai to the UK before they were discovered. One thing about these parcels is they had cell phones connected to them. They don't know what the point of the cell phones was. They haven't figured out whether they were meant to trigger the explosion, whether they were just being used as a timer, whether they were just dummies. But it started a conversation now that maybe it's not such a good idea to have Wi-Fi and cell service on airplanes. We're just getting Wi-Fi on airplanes now. There is cell service that can be implemented on airplanes so that you can make data connections with your 3G data without interfering with the avionics. And so Roland Alford, Managing Director of Alford Technologies and Explosives Consultancy in Chippenham, Wiltshire, UK, says he expects the technology to be scrutinized in security reviews, and they may have to say no Wi-Fi or 3G on the planes because it might be used to blow something up in the cargo hold.
And that includes, Virgin America giving you Wi-Fi on your flight, they're going to have to stop offering that service potentially. And this affects a lot more devices than just your phone or your notebook or your connection between your notebook and phone. This would include Nintendo DSs. This includes Sony PSPs, your iPad, and countless other Wi-Fi enabled devices. Yeah, I mean, it's too bad because it seems like for both business class and entertainment focused travelers, it seems like the Wi-Fi integration into flights has been a booming success and everyone loves it. To have that be pulled away that's not a happy thought, but I also understand that they want to be. I just hope they're, like you said, I hope they're very, very careful about reviewing this, that they have a lot of scrutiny-minded folks, a lot of smart people, and it isn't just people freaking out and crying wolf before they know what the wolf is.
Here's another side of the argument. Says the position of our security experts is that the use of mobile phones on planes does not constitute any additional security threat. There are many ways of coordinating an attack without using a mobile phone. That, of course, is a statement from On Air, a company that makes in-flight cell phone and Wi-Fi system.
Shocking.
So there is going to be somebody fighting on the side of keeping the Wi-Fi going. And there is a legitimate discussion to be had about, well, okay, so they, you take the Wi-Fi repeater and the 3G repeater off the plane. That makes it harder. It doesn't make it impossible.
Right.
You can still connect to that plane somehow. It's not outside the realm. So.
Yeah, and device to device, hopping between two devices on a plane.
Little Wi-Fi direct.
Yeah, sure.
They're good.
Yeah.
All right, let's take another break and thank our sponsor, Ford, makers of voice-activated sync. It's a great way to get around if you don't want to get on a plane. Jump in your Ford, make some phone calls, play some music, spend some time looking for what you want to listen. Well, that sounds dangerous to you. You're supposed to be driving. You do it with Ford voice-activated sync. You just say, hey, find the jazz. Find the Coltrane for me. Now play the Coltrane playlist. Boom. You don't have to take your eyes off the road. You can make phone calls. You can say, hey, call Jason. Telling him I'm staying home and playing with my new gaming rig. He'll call Jason. So you can even dictate a text message.
We had plans.
I know. Sorry about that. Text message says, I'm sorry about the plans. We'll reschedule. All of that can be done with voice-activated sync, and there is turn-by-turn directions in there as well that they can read to you. You can even change your direction, like, hey, I'm going here now. I've decided Jason might be there, and he's still mad at me.
Hey,
I got to go to the market.
I heard that.
And then sitting over here, man.
And then when Jason runs into your car and the airbag's deployed, it automatically calls 911 for you with 911 assist. Sync is available exclusively on Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury vehicles. So check it out at syncmyridepodcast.com. That's right, syncmyridepodcast.com to learn more about voice-activated sync, and we thank them for their support. Time now for the News Fuse. That poor kitty. A new browser app for iOS is getting a lot of attention as it transcodes Flash video and then returns it as HTML5. It's called Skyfire, and it can play what is otherwise Flash video on your iPhone, iPod, or iPad. Costs $3, and in my test, TWiT Live worked really well, but it could not handle CNET TV, Hulu, or Vimeo for one reason or another. In some cases, it was blocked. In some cases, it just didn't work. So maybe hold off on plopping down the 3 bones for a while. See how it works out.
Also, I'm surprised it got past him. But anyway, the UK has sent Google to its room to think about what it did, Tom.
You go to your room and think about what you did.
Britain's Information Commissioner determined Google's inadvertent Wi-Fi data collection was a, quote, significant breach, unquote, of UK law. But instead of fining Google, Commissioner Christopher Graham said Wednesday that he was content with a written response from Google that such a thing wouldn't happen again.
Don't let it happen again. And you're grounded. Get ready for a crazy name corral. WiGig, which is the 60 gigahertz wireless video transfer protocol, is teaming up with VISA, not VI, but VESA, which is the international standards body for computer graphics, to create a certification program for wireless DisplayPort products. The goal is to create a new spate of products that will connect PCs and handhelds to monitors, projectors, and HDTVs without wires. You go, crazy named associations.
I can't wait for that, actually. That's very exciting to me. The CSIRO has unveiled a new technology that would bring internet to people in rural or remote parts of Australia using their existing TV antennas. Analog TV signal is set to be switched off in 2013, but this technology could see the spectrum used to deliver 12 megabits per second internet straight to people's homes through their television antenna. Dude,
great
awesome.
In the outback.
Yeah, love it.
Go on walkabout. Get your internet. The first Windows 7 handsets are flying, I tell you, out of shops in the UK faster than they can be supplied. Orange has started pre-booking for handsets, taking those orders in advance, and is offering customers 20-pound HMV vouchers to help them cope with the wait while they wait for those new Windows phones to come. Meanwhile, HTC and Samsung headsets are selling out as fast as they can be shipped to the stores. A lot of people starting to wonder if there'll be enough when they hit the U.S.
I like that you called them shops because that's how they call all their stores in the UK.
Yeah, that's because I lifted it from the register.
Nice. Also in the news, everyone's really excited that iTunes has extended the song preview length in iTunes from 30 to 90 seconds.
Yay.
Meanwhile, I can preview a lot of songs in their entirety for free by doing a Google search.
Yay. I don't know why everybody's so excited about that. Ooh,
it's kind of weird. It's only good. It's only bad if the song itself is only 90 seconds. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, actually, that's a good point. If the song is less than 2.5 minutes, they don't give you a 90-second preview.
Got it.
Nokia has won an early advantage in their intellectual property suit with Apple, according to a pre-hearing examination of the patents. The International Trade Commission has ruled that Apple has not provided enough evidence to establish a violation of its rights. The ITC's early read on 13 patents Cupertino has accused Nokia of violating is that some were not violated at all and some aspects of others are invalid. So Nokia wins the first round.
Well, there you go. Someone might finish this fight. Get it?
Oh, yeah.
Finish?
Yeah.
That was terrible.
That was...
rounding us out today, researchers have made a major step toward a holographic video conferencing system. A California-based research arm of the Japanese company working with the University of Arizona phonics professor have discovered a full-color 3D display that refreshes every 2 seconds. They've sent live images of a researcher in California to collaborators in Arizona. Get on it, Skype.
Get on it so we can have holographic TWiT.
Love it.
Also, I think you meant photonics, or at least I meant to write photonics, not phonics.
What did I say, phonics? Phonics.
It was my fault. All right, finally, let's wrap up with a robot in every Korean kindergarten. This coming off of Slashdot.org. That's right. The robot teacher is finally here. There is a movement in the cities of Masan and Daegu to be the first to be exposed to Engkey, E-N-G-K-E-Y, the robotic teacher. And the Education Ministry in Korea wants all 8,400 kindergartens in the nation to have robotic instructors by the end of 2013.
I emailed this to my brother while we were recording. I have a Korean brother, for those who don't know. He was adopted, not me. And we talk all the time about the state of South Korea and what's going on over there. And I think you'll find this incredibly interesting. I think that these guys... We see this stuff and we think, what's going on in Korea? They're getting robots for every class. I think we need to start thinking about that kind of stuff here in the States.
Yeah, I love
We need to quit being so hoity-toity and get excited about technologies that on the surface might seem a little goofy, but embrace some of this stuff. I think it's a great idea.
All right, let's run through the calendar. It is Groundhog Day. At least that is what the judge said when he opened the third Jamie Thomas P2P trial today. This one is specifically about the amount of the damages she has to pay for downloading copyrighted material off the internet. Also, the March of the Tablets has begun. It's that time of year, folks. Getting close to the holidays. You're going to see a tablet palooza between now and December 25th. Arcos 70 Internet tablet is now shipping for $279 with 8 gigabytes of storage and Android 2.2. Also, the LG Pad is coming just in time to miss the holidays. Q1 2011. It'll have Android Honeycomb, dual-core Tegra 2, and 8.9-inch screen.
Exciting days.
Yeah, tablet time. I want to get a Galaxy Tab. I want to try it out. On to the voicemails. 260-TNT show is our number. Give us a call. It's a free call in Butler, Indiana. You can do like Daniel did and leave a very nice, concise, and informative message.
Hey, TNT. It's Daniel in Pittsburgh. I was just calling RE episode 109 in the News Fuse Balloon Edition when Tom brought up the internet rage about the Xbox 360 update. I think part of the reason that update is outraging so many people is because it's mandatory. So you can't exactly opt out of it. Plus, it's black on white instead of white on blue, which hurts my eyes. Okay, love the show. Bye.
First of all, Microsoft, don't hurt Daniel's eyes. Second of all, yeah, they're always required, at least if you want to keep using Xbox Live.
Yeah, there's no way around it. All their updates, their spring updates, they always do. All that stuff is always mandatory. And if you want to keep using your live membership and use the online features, you do have to do the update. However, speaking of his headaches he's getting from the color stuff, I do believe those themes are alterable for the Blade system that comes up, where the color he's talking about, where it's been switched. So I'm pretty sure you can go back to something that's a little bit more inverted, a little darker on the background, lighter on the text. Don't quote me on that because I haven't played with it since the update, but this was true before.
All right.
So,
I guess we should investigate that. I'll make mine blue and yellow to support the St. Louis Blues hockey.
Yeah.
On to the email. TNT@twit.tv is the email address. Jason, would you do the honors with our first email today?
I would. The Microsoft Anonymous. The Microsoft Anonymous, as if there was only one.
Yeah.
Hey, TNT crew. On Friday's TNT, you guys were talking about Microsoft giving away Windows Phone 7 for all the employees, and you mentioned that they would also pay the data plan costs. Unfortunately, they won't. They are just reimbursing the cost of a Windows Phone when we buy one. This is actually not much of an incentive, and many of my colleagues that have iPhones or Androids are already saying that they will probably just get the phone and keep their current phone, too. Just thought that would be an interesting piece of info.
That is interesting, and we appreciate you risking your identity being uncovered to let us know. So, yeah, it was kind of assumed that Microsoft would pay for the plan, but oh no. I guess you could maybe talk your boss into expensing it, but they're not even giving you the phone. They're like, yeah, go buy it. We'll let you expense it.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's actually, I mean, it seemed like a big deal at the first, where you're sort of like, and for all your hard work, and now that we finally launched this booger, here you go, everybody. And it's really not like that. It's just kind of like, man, we were going to pay for your phone anyway, and just why don't you get us Windows 7 phone?
And then your boss, who's got like, the P&L that's under the gun, is like, all right, everybody, they're making me honor expenses for Windows phones, but if you really want to support our department, you won't do that.
Okay. I mean, you like your phone, right? You like it, right? Okay.
Yeah, your phone's fine.
Well, then fine.
Hey, Tom, here's what I was telling you about in the chat room. This comes from Bob Fox, a.k.a. Antenna Gate. It's about Silverlight and the fate of Silverlight and how it's angering some developers. Apparently, Bob Muglia, the Microsoft president in charge of the company's server, says Silverlight is their development platform for Windows Phone. He said Silverlight also has some sweet spots in media and line of business applications, but when it comes to touting Silverlight as Microsoft's vehicle for delivering a cross-platform runtime, the strategy has shifted. So they're saying, essentially here, we're just going to use Silverlight on the phone, okay? Bob says, it seems to me that Microsoft is throwing in the towel for Silverlight to be ubiquitous across lots of platforms and relegating it to Windows Phone 7. The reaction from the development community was swift and harsh, and Muglia posted a follow-up on the Silverlight blog site. Even though he tried to reiterate Microsoft's commitment to Silverlight, in the end, it seems they realized that with all the different platforms available that try to support Silverlight, trying to support Silverlight on them is a losing proposition. So it looks like we will see Silverlight no longer be a competitor for Flash. It'll just be a phone thing.
Does that mean our friends at Netflix will stop streaming everything in Silverlight, I wonder?
Well, that's a good question. You keep upgrading Silverlight for the phone. Does that mean you'll still continue to make the desktop client? Because, Netflix on your browser is Silverlight, or will they just say, screw it, we're switching to Flash?
And I have to think that it's not just a Microsoft thing pushing those updates through Netflix. Netflix has a vested interest in making sure that the player is doing well and that it keeps up with current speed standards or whatever the heck they figure out and kill bugs or whatever. So this can't be good news for them or anyone else trying to build a service on Silverlight as a platform, which so far seems like a fine platform. So I don't know.
What Muglia says is HTML5 is a better platform, and frankly, I have to agree with them. If Netflix goes to HTML5. Okay, that is what looks like where everyone is going. So in that case, Silverlight was nice. It was good, but like many Microsoft things, just a little late.
A little late, and they also do that thing where they give up on it. I'm just saying, it seems like every time there's like a new little thing coming from Microsoft, and they kind of just go, meh, we're done with that. We're good.
Yeah. All right, Scott Johnson, thank you so much for being on TNT. You have 5 seconds to plug something. Go.
Frogpants.com. They can listen to all the Frog Pants podcasts over at frogpants.com. Go there now, frogpants.com. And thanks for having me on. It's always a blast to hang out with you guys.
Also, I know it's in the hiatus, but hypothetical help.
Coming back next Monday.
Coming back.
Season 3.
Oh, it's coming back next Monday. Look at that.
Yeah, Season 3 starting up. We're actually a week late because we had some time zone issues. But yes, the British-American invasion happens again.
Hilarious advice that is totally impractical but fun to listen to. Check out.
That's right.
Hypothetical help. You can find us on the web at twit.tv/TNT. You can email us, as I mentioned, TNT@twit.tv, or give us a call and leave a voicemail, 260-TNT-SHOW. We'll see you tomorrow.